Yeah, okay. Yeah, people. Dolo domara jibe ja no bara jibe ge tarva dan tam ji jembe vardu ju bara jiba tam ji je su jibe ma nam ga dan nyambe sem je tam ji deva dan de domara dan Yurdu lana mi bara yang ta bara zobe chang churen bo chi to bara cha idala dang bara chi be ra no bara chi be ge darba dang tam ji chen be var du ju bara chi tam ji ji su chi be ma nam ka dang nyam be sem chen tam ji de ba dang de dung ara dang chi Nyortu lana me bara yang ta bara zobe chanchu rinpo chi to bara cha. Yeah, English?
All mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience. May they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment.
Pe che de sam ma je je far tu lung a yi sun ge ba la gu ma she war tu lung a yi sun ge ba la gu ro tu se re ne song de ni ma san ta zam je far tu lung a yi sun ge ba la gu
Where's the book? Where the book go?
Ah,
Tap tongue and dog something.
通嘛都係，通到嘅呢。
Really? Where'd it go? I cannot see the book for some reason now. It's just here. Can somebody else read it, maybe? Damn, that is
Ah,
tap
Deputy Chair Chayo Tongomindela. Yet Loshawa. For that purpose, until I attain Buddhahood, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. Until death, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. From today until this time tomorrow, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. For that purpose, until I attain Buddhahood,
第二的角度都是看你的啥，
You can't say that.
杨家在前呢，第二的角度对吧？
Tata Yakoyola.
像老式的杨家给起来，我多才弄的。
Ina Chik Tongudo than that.
Nga 이게 통하면도 그래서 nga tama tong gruppe tong도 그런 lakhan tong도 네
Yeah, Chik Loxa in that December.
integrated.
这些也是靠着人家谈的。
Yeah. 나는 이게 돼. I don't know why I cannot see it.
工作人呢？
Is it just me or I don't see the text at all? Yeah,
虽然马在从的杨家在就那样，
maybe let me go out and in again. Yeah. Okay, 1 second.
给你的什么
Hey,
情
on
况？
screen share Chigolo.
那国嘛，他没那里，他到国嘛了。他从对
Can
啊，
you see now, Ina?
我是他的。
Now I can see it weird.
哎呀，真的，他才国嘛都，但这个。
Okay.
他们给出去小菜的，从这边见面到对接工作，每次人从不到我这边过小菜接入小不拉强，在罗都人强旺的罗那罗他妈的他会跑着一天，各地什么点在为了没下这就那么也他们就用那是玩的说到就情节个，呀，真的咋和上车的嘛的哇，你要不是那么出去晒天晒的哇，我天就在洗瓦特人多洗瓦特的哇。 希望的托桑了落江的可惜没加吧，先把从头的两是两种多，我在唐波突发起过去，突发的起，落不中了起别起提大，我才开心不突发起，这突发起吧，结果买什么第三个的同大体看出这度，我才什么当，我这次骑车队真的落江呢，那卡也呀基本上都当有嘛，卡也呀基本。可惜给把我的这部片给嘛，然后甚至那片给嘛的也是。没讲先把从头是伢不是呢，我在光家过的是伢们俩去过，从头是伢们头大还是这多把的上把钱呢，真的，我这块伢们是那过的也是。
So we are in those 10 things to train in. And we come now to verse number 4. That is, having prepared your mind through learning and contemplation, don't use it to embrace mere platitudes, but train in the meaning of what you understand. So first we do need to hear, we need to learn, study, and read the texts, but it's not just about reading too. It's not just about becoming very scholarly. We also have to think deeply, contemplate the meaning of what we have learned. So we have to reflect and really understand the meaning, but then even thinking, contemplation alone is not enough. It's not enough to just be really knowledgeable about something. And to really bring benefit to the mind, we have to actually apply what we have learned directly to our own mind. And we do that through meditation practice. So we need to hear the Dharma and reflect on it and then also practice it. Nasa?
我真的大别想了，可惜别想开发修就有。我这从头头呢，这从大讲的伢们俩层面呢，真的说说刚刚提问的，这伢们俩的别想的抗养偏个嘛的意思。这样对伢们俩在突发的，现在伢们俩其他他可个的，突发的上把子，现伢们俩其他他可个的意思。我真的说说举例子，那真的在讲个把那说呗，伢们俩这样控盘着呢，那靠给对吧？他头上去那说特别是说偏个的意思。我真就是嘛的，泡沫出来这种的意思。高瓦金呢，参秋老师，高瓦金呢，参秋老师，高瓦金他参秋个来讲嘛，我那种写多少别想嘛，我讲过了，那边现在人们也话说，现在人们也话说是，我真的现在当人们去个嘛的是啊，我真的现在说呢，起码的是我真的现在。我真的现在做起来，最起码得几多个，这几种这嘛，做等个当初人们去要的，现起码培养，那什么地方上过去的是。
So, so for example, someone might be very learned in the text and be really scholarly, but if they haven't practiced the meaning, if they haven't actually applied what they have learned, then when difficulty arises, all that knowledge doesn't help them at all. So we study in order to learn how to practice. So the study is necessary so that we know how to practice, but then we also need to actually apply it and practice it for it to become meaningful in difficult times. And so that will bring us benefit temporarily for when we encounter difficulties, and ultimately that is what will bring us to enlightenment. And Pagmo Drupa had said that you may go through many hardships to study and learn the text, the scriptures, but then if you don't practice them, this life becomes your main concern. And this life being your main concern, you forget about the next life. And so that is not good, because the real purpose of practice really is to prepare us for what comes after this life or for future lives. So this is how we need to think about practice. So
我真的上级军队的本家来北干嘛做这有点难多，我这边些草嘛写给的，写呢的，这了上级军队的，他原来看样做什么都是。我现在在洛杉矶成都恰是做的那做多，我在哪里的是去年来民呢？我没来的批送多，开始跟我说，球鞋没些，球鞋没些，起码的用蒙的，用蒙把它，当这个 수마 주세. 와다시 그래스 당 당지 수마 주세 하고 그래스. 와송어래. 와제는 정말 안지만 도 저송어래. 센터니 못해 외장시 센터니 카데워서 못해 바이나 지오토 그래스. 와다 생상가도 세레이 바트소 이나제 잠만 뭐 시기로 와. 와 텐지 시기를 했다. 되게 이제 냠내 가서 자나데 디스카레 하고. 와 텐지 차디 오라 와 텐지 가나서菜地西吧马西的냠내 서 자네 소소소소的偏头呀 선대치는偏头呀 的냠내 다른 것도 텐지 냠내 서 자네 的하고야 치고레스
Buddha had a relative, the Chikama, and so he, was it Devatat, and so he was quite, at first he was quite knowledgeable about the texts, and so he knew so he had quite some understanding, and so he was basically a great scholar. But then when the Buddha then at some point looked at him, he said that he didn't actually see any great qualities in him. And so because of that, then this relative developed a wrong view in the Buddha. He became resentful. Also, Milarepa had said that if the Dharma is not truly understood, so if it doesn't really enter one's heart, then the afflictive emotions and self-grasping won't be tamed. And that is the purpose of the Dharma. If you understand, if you tame your grasping, your afflictions, then through practice, only then will you truly understand the heart of the Dharma. And Milarepa also said that someone who knows many words, who can speak eloquently, still may miss the point. For example, the Tirthikas and non-Buddhist philosophers, they also are able to speak eloquently about various teachings. Also nowadays, these days, we have science advancing, and scientists also have a wealth of knowledge, but applying all of that actually to the mind is still very difficult for them. And so this is what practice is for, because we are not just in this life. If you practice now, then you will benefit from that in this life and in future lives. So that's the purpose of the practice. And so we can really only understand the depth of the Dharma if we actually practice it. So.
근데 다 나바들이 가서 똑바 샤네 치와상 당념스 메상와 인미 균형스네 서거든 다这个说냠냠的있으나真的他的냠냠치 스페셜한 참로 같이 되인스 어떤 참로 같이 되인지这部片말이다 디지털 펜게로 왔잖아요 이나 야보지 다 펜게 말이다 대 누가 나서 같이 이거잖아 전에 대치고래서 전에但也感觉挺多的挺多的但上帝层面就在路不然从的其实从的这个想那么多这群人这说什么嘞我这就是你们来提过的七万当年什么样子我在当年想想的嘛七万是呢你们来什么计划去啊
Konuşayım bak karşı getok lopra motor.
没别想路不然从的那一旦路上上帝参与是但这个一个想那么多可以这嘛嘞那这上嘛计划是说我们家过去的 냠나 치고 그래. 대 뉴스는 치바다. 당뇨스 몇 상세 와 치바다. 당뇨스 당고마 당뇨 가지고 제가 사상 되게 말했어. 와서 이미 냠네로 더 많이 와치 냠스네. 냠나 다르게 마디 있어요. 야 컴페어당. 더 상마지 벌써 냠나 치고래. 정도.
We come to verse number 5. When realization dawns within your mind stream, don't let it dissipate into indifference, but train undistractedly. So we may do a little practice. We may even do a few years of retreat. But even that alone is not enough. Of course, there is some benefit in doing a retreat, but not much if you stop there. So, for example, some people say that, oh, I did a 3-year retreat, so now I'm done. So it's almost like I graduated. So like we are finishing school, we're graduating, and now we're done with school. So this is not how we should see practice. We actually need to keep practicing until attaining enlightenment and never really stop. So we cannot. We have to practice until realization dawns in the mind stream, and so even then we have to continue to practice and not allow ourselves to become complacent with what we have learned, but we must practice with an undistracted focus until enlightenment, and so without allowing the mind to fall into the state of indifference. So
어떤 다 검지에 이제 다 보면은 생계 치킨다를 쇼스 다 생계 진행을 차 생계 된 거는 예전 용 제로다 이제 그 다제 나자 친구는实际 친구 여러 다들 다 보면 맞잖아 당가서 몇千把他是公钱以前呢光是요리제디 사서 야본다 세 공야본 냠나 시점 제자와샤 텐디지 마지디 다 만로딘 마지나데 들차로 생계 대 치킨 친다고 세 차서 배차 노르르 뭐 치제 온 다음나 마 괜히나 요던데 린타요 말아 我在哪里的？我在那前方，这研究的就是我的老多些拉手吧，这是讲呢，但是我们家过来是，我是在买音乐去，但我们家过来是啊，这当三个人出去对他漂亮，我会光就过为是的那么的，就别那么长嘛的，是吧？大，对光他也不接触别，他那样的工作热出别，对，这我会光就过为，现在我们就刚把意思，现在我们就刚把意思，他在现在他这一块，可完了，英国没办，这是咱们要不当。 我这些咱现在的这些旅游上街特别怎么当呢？我曾经去过的是，我在前把光景我也，我在前把这光景我也，但肯定那没人嘛去过的。我今天从我从推送上街熊人推进去没别前把意思，推送上街他们去的，但这是可能不干的的，推进去没别前把的这些，前把人民嘛些呢，前把人嘛没把他嘛些呢。 另外，都他看了没？说这旅游的啊，这个话要吹空了。前把人的旅游这个是通透不嘛的是。 我这旅游啊，就是肯定那在你们呢，前些花友我才去过去的。我们就只能强他你建议中了，我们就只能在强的你强吧，你这我在强说什么说了，我们身边了，他们去了培养什么的，我在你们去过去的中人是吧？
It is said that if you meditate, but then you just let it go, it is like a lion becoming like a dog, or kind of mixing with dogs. So first, you might say I'm a great meditator, and that may have been the case while you were doing your retreat. Even when you practice, you may have practiced really well, but if you don't continue on in the same way, then it's also like having a precious gem, a jewel, and throwing it into the trash. If you just throw it away, then it's no use to you. So therefore, you have to always remember the 4 thoughts that turn the mind, and let that inspire you to continue your meditation without distraction. It is said that devotion is the head of meditation. So always remember the lineage lamas with great devotion have deep faith in them. And then it is said that renunciation, or kind of renunciation toward worldly concerns, is the legs of meditation that you walk on. And so with renunciation, you understand that samsara has no real essence. And you understand that by practicing the Dharma, that can bring you to enlightenment in this very life and body. If you keep to it with mindfulness and meditate. And then it is said that mindfulness is the actual meditation, the kind of the main part, or the main practice. And Jigten Somgön regarding that said, all the Buddhas of the 3 times, or the path of all the Buddhas of the 3 times, is rooted in unbroken mindfulness and continuous mindfulness. If there is no mindfulness, then even if your body and speech are virtues, without mindfulness and awareness, your intention, your ability to benefit others will not be great. So this intention, this altruistic intention, will not have real power. And so therefore it's necessary to always rely on sustained mindfulness and awareness. And it is said that loving kindness and compassion are the activities of meditation, or loving kindness, compassion, also bodhicitta, are the activities of meditation. So it is the thought that may I benefit all sentient beings. That is what you should hold on to. That is the most important thing to practice.
啊，真的他出过来了吧？出过来是你们俩住了街呢，操顺就机场，没就完，一把年是呢，那是我到你们俩自己就写上了，真的操是些，但是你们俩点不的起码错那错了，如果呢这现一周个是就是呢，在慢慢帮助啥有了，我真就是大不了这了没就是一万钱都不是没就个，一把人家是呢是，我这边把人家是呢我的是，这几岁没来的怕他们干嘛？可能但是出见吧，但可能基本做到这年来空别当样子的偏学啥的吧，我曾经的种多，我真差不多么种现在这趟多半多，那现在这趟是多多那噶他们那是噶他们现在真是噶他们就是吃完么不娘们这里得学真用没用是，这主的那主层是咱这么过的，是说那主层这样这年来去过的种多，做这当然说因为往出嘛钱是去过去的，我这年来看出说去特别他这里是。泡沫出来这种的是，但公巴店呢，你们拍是公巴是那，我说干嘛公巴是那，NBA 肯定拉票的，NBA 你们买啥子公巴拉票的，我听说公巴就是吃饱嘛没得啥拉票是吧？我公巴是那 NBA 肯定的，我听这 NBA 呢，你们拍个的是，终于就那先把节是，但重把嘛不我说那先下节，当然你们其他钱都没了。我听这恰说是拿出的呢，看着或是拿出的呢，看着把我看着这种，老球去给是你们旗下的。相对起来，因为这从假设的 trauma 的这种毛毛生的，因为建筑给这生活天对当然说，可对那的在外边的是，垃圾在人们来看突起呢，他们嘛个就恐怕在热不能说热生呢，热能扩充能扩生呢，对的，能扩生但木块的能生木块的话，提扩突落的，但是木块有那个嘛，我提扩充呢，我。rik men dan rik boere.
Die zweite.
Navn ko chance navn sena. Mukpa det var. Mukpa ti ko no tu lo no. Og det der ri det mukpa gjør va. Kona ji bo. Ri for si navn ko chon da go dam som dis. Chon do go dam som dis. Son do go dam som sena chon do sena da samar va. Dam sena men ya da det. Så pa så det går. Dam som son do go ko sena tu lo va. 我提中报的穷地呢，但你们这些提过的是我的，我听这种多。
So then we move on to the next verse, verse number 6. When practical experience has taken birth within you, don't get involved in many distractions, but keep to training. So you may have gained some experience, so a little practice has arisen in your but even if that has happened, it is not yet stable, and therefore going into the busyness and distractions of being with many people can cause that little practice that you do have to fade. So that is why you need to practice in solitude until a stable realization arises. And that's why Milarepa, for example, went alone into the mountains. It's in the isolation of his mountain retreats that his practice improved and his realization developed. Also, Gampopa said that if you truly want to realize shamatha and vipassana, then like the follow the past Kadampa, the old Kadampa tradition, and stay in mountain solitude or like remote forests, and stay there and practice with discipline. And so the main thing is that you want to be in a place where you're not going to be distracted, where you're not going to be controlled, where you will not fall under the power of various seductions and distractions. Pagmo Drupa said that stay in, so it says a gompa, but in the old days, a gompa is a place of isolation. Nowadays, we call it gompa monastery where the monks live. But in the old days, when the masters referred to gompa, he referred to a place of isolation. So he said, stay in a place of isolation. In such a place, true experience will increase. In cities or in busy places, attachments will easily arise and your motivation to practice declines. But if you stay in solitary retreat, then the dakas and dakinis and the protectors will come to help. But in busy places like markets and in towns, your practice naturally declines. So whenever possible, you should practice in solitude. And so the past Kagyu masters were actually referred to as like the mountain children, the kind of mountain boys who stay in the mountain. And it is said that they wore the mist as their robes, their clothing. They let go of their concerns of fame, clothing, and food, and gave up all attachments. So this is how we should practice, keeping these attachments to a minimum and only focusing on practice. So.
tene da dunba tari ke lang xin tamcha go song ha mi tu me tang wa la ba zom nyam sne so da ke lang xin tamcha a ke lang sha le che so tar ki don ba yin na yo na chang so sem ki don ba yin na zang wa ki don ba yin na le wo da che so tar ki don ba jin na da ze ge chu long ge chu ge long da ge nye se de ge nye re ma da se de yo wa wo di chang ma da ji zang du go don ba zong go shu re wo de ke lang tamcha go song ha mi ma da de ha mi chi di na 강조 만든가 요즘 치디나 되는 또 바티 송투부 말에 서미 메타 라바존 냠나치 스타 라바존 냠나치 거 라바존 세나다 수템 라바 등에지 라바 셰랍 라바 와티 좀 보세다 냠스네 거래 정도
We come to the next verse, number 7. Once you have made commitments and promises, don't leave your 3 doors in heedlessness, but observe the 3 trainings. So whatever vows we have promised, we have taken, for example, the outer vows of the pratimoksha vows of individual liberation, for example, the novice or bhikshu or upasaka vows and so on. There's many different levels of pratimoksha vows, or the inner bodhisattva vows, or the secret vajrayana samayas. So these are called the 3 kinds of vows. They all must be upheld with body, speech, and mind. And if you're not mindful and careful with your 3 doors, with the body, speech, and mind, if you're careless with body, speech, and mind, then you won't be able to keep those vows, to hold those vows, and train in the 3 higher trainings. So the 3 higher trainings that we should train in with heedfulness is the training in samadhi, in ethical discipline, and wisdom.
tene da de karjana da di da laba zom zena laba zom sia zo wo de chuchen laba xie qi ne chuchen laba xie qi tene ding zi ki laba da shira laba ni bo de nyam shne go re wo de chuchen laba zong na de sa yi de wo de ya bo de na chen tang ju chen de ju tang me ji sa yi xin yuan tian gu ji xi tian lei ba zong go bo lu ke xin tai na yo ro我chen觉得没啥意思，啥那意思。原天估计西天来把种，是原天他们西天中的chen 差的就chen的。我这一堆大把种他做我的，我这一堆这现在的好朋友接触表了，偏给的是，我这一堆这大家出chen 了把这种呢，这提纲的了，等于这的啊。
the Gobo Ludo Parison.
现在呢，这样的剧场没去设计，就这么的也会有没设计呢，也是也会用了，设计有了设计，设计的性格当然的设计的性格这个吧是用呢。我这呢也是原天估计西天来把种，原天参起西天的我来种。我这人对出天在里边那这定义子，写了他说借或者是现在上头那说把他说借出来骗给的是，我真的讲究呢，他总有了。也让得到参起，特别写了同这种，就我这同他把写了接出来了，我真的我这里种多。
So the training after the 3 higher trainings of samadhi, ethical discipline, and wisdom, of them, the main one to keep kind of as a basis, the foundation or the kind of principal one is the training in ethical discipline, which is like the solid foundation that supports the other samadhis. The other samadhis of wisdom and samadhi, those higher trainings actually is what we need to practice, and ethical discipline is what we need to uphold as a support so that we can practice. Nagarjuna said in the letter to a friend that discipline, ethical discipline, is like a fertile ground. If you want to plant something there, it will everything will grow. He said that all good qualities depend on discipline as their foundation. And then from this solid foundation, then there's training of samadhi and wisdom, and also vipassana, special insight, will arise. And then in the Bodhicharya Vatara, it is also said as a result of the higher training of discipline, ultimately also it generates the ultimate wisdom. So,
我真的讲究当中了，现在รับ的点呗，当中开始现在รับ的点呗，当中牛毛那边讲把写起呢，是这牛毛把都那边把讲把写起呢，我们现在人就这家下是，是这家是，你看吃饭没吧？我跟说，是你看吃饭吃饭没吧？对，我这 drop 出个的是，我这是出天的呢，这现在是这个的是，我这现在是的呢，这牛毛是蛮 drop 出来的，对，这是用个的种的吧。
Also in the Bodhicharya Avatara, it says that the when how is it, vipassana that is found, that is based on shamatha, on firm, calm abiding, or when vipassana that is based on calm abiding arises, all the afflictive emotions will become pacified, and everything then will be accomplished unhindered, unobstructedly. And so so the great things that are rare to find will be accomplished if one just has the foundation of ethical discipline. So
我真的打场结巴他的，上桥不桥的三级呢，三级呢让东没级吧，积极行动两是呢，我这强桥不是的，这强桥不是呀，这真是打票出来，长是对他呢，让经济的把强说呢，让经济的把强说呢，少不是对现在说，基本这样，桥不得原天他等把桥不是那个啦。我这桥的，我这桥的是，我这三级呢，让东没级，那长寿三级的让头大去，现在做起过的是，但是头把上级就变的是芯片的七八千，那这上级特别是，俺让所以那这芯片是在起码头的，他们先开玩笑都有是的，这样对行动，让的参起现在就做了没哪里边，让的参起现在就，芯片参起让的就是，我的让的参起现在就可以是。芯片它去让对就是，我现在我那些把片图下来，让对吧图标，让上级图标起出来是，我这现在让对他们去，芯片芯片他们去让对就，我在这中我的是，我真的没积极的行动是两不是当是这积极行动，他们去两不是我的是， 我在randay tamji xian bayan tamji randay ju simala de zong lo wa ten dong le es so wo ta xian de sen di go res.
Then we come to verse number 8. Having generated bodhicitta, don't pursue selfish aims, but train in doing everything for the welfare of others. And so bodhicitta, this term is Changchupsam in Tibetan, and Chang means to purify the selfish mind, the cherishing oneself. So Chang is to purify, and Chup is to kind of acquire or accomplish, and that is to acquire the cherishing of others. And then that is what we call the mind of bodhicitta. And so when we give rise to a mind of bodhicitta, then actually it is for our own, it is for the benefit of others, but it's really, we're doing ourselves the greatest service, because the Buddha attained enlightenment, became enlightened because of his great altruism, his wish to benefit others. And we are still in samsara because we have not developed an altruistic mind. And Milarepa also said that all your own happiness all comes from others, so it arises from others, and helping others is your own greatest benefit. So because when you help others, the greatest benefit, the greatest help service is really done to yourself, because helping others or benefiting others is what leads to enlightenment. So point here in this verse is that the most important thing to practice is to develop this altruistic mind of bodhicitta. So.
와, 전에 다 자주 샘스 대단 장 섬치기다. 내가 또 동바 신용是学蛮牛的，就蛮好的，长寿sem不懂吧学，就让长寿sem懂吧，那我做那个句，让我写那的，做我的沙漠单位就把是，沙漠单位就把是，可能是那他这里，上届军队的跟前辈一样，都做不了说，这里马举的沙漠单位就把是。我这节前就被就把是，节前就被就把这可能是上届军队的，就是全把我们，这里马通没拉说，这举例了，这是节前就被。就把是我这里，但这当个就是呀，就把出兄弟是到这里，你们来其他就把这他的都人讲对了，那罗拉说把这里马举的，你们来其他就把出兄弟是，我这强求先去就把，我这学过的也是，这当个做的你们来去，现他就把这啊强求身体都把这所有的话这里呢，他把这高档的马他就给了这些，沙漠单位就把的节前就被的强求先做动的话，他就把。我听你不在里的，让那里是都说的，我才让那这娘们难过的是，我真的他听你不，什么单位就把的，别想那个没把生气的，但主要咱们的这东西，就把生气的我主要的，但实际上呢，我这里生气从起上把的，没把生气起，这哪怕说请把它抽了说吧，你们那其他的。就把生气，我在强说啥？这前就把就把这样啥的，他的没把生气的不是没把生气的，就他们家吧，就把生气的就他们家吧，这样啥的，别强生我说当中的但别强的当晚去别的，那边去给提起他把他们去前面，或者就把他们去做去别。마 남카 다니는데 심지한테 대화상 내가 농할 사체 녀서 나나 미 양사바 做 창조는 뭐 토바 차세데 테모 바스치 어떻게 되지 디비터 창조는 뭐 토바 차세 디비터 탐자야다 뭐 바스치 지오테카르는 주바스치 되게 뒤트레인 소니 마상 타바 농아이송 마시와 농아이송 개발하고 뒤트레인 상 마시와 농아이송 개발 저 이와와 다 개발 거스와 다 개발 거리한테 주리 뭐 줄 탐자바데 真正就关身体，我去，我这节前就别了说成的，小学啥的。
And so we take, for example, to cultivate bodhicitta, we take the bodhisattva vows, and so there is, for example, now in the Kagyu tradition. So in the Kagyu tradition is said to be a tradition that holds, or a tradition wherein three main lineages of bodhicitta converge. So the first one is called the lineage of the profound view, and that comes from the Buddha Shakyamuni and was passed on to Manjushri, to Nagarjuna, and so on. Then the second one is the lineage of vast conduct that came also from the Buddha and was transmitted to Maitreya, Asanga, and so forth. And so here, so the main practice consists of the sorry, this comes later. And so then there is the practice lineage, that the third lineage that is unique to the Kagyu lineage, that we have all these three lineages. And so the practice lineage was transmitted from Vajradhara, Tilopa, Naropa, and so forth. And so this is the living tradition of the direct experience and realization, also referred to as the practice lineage of blessings. So we have these three special lineages in the Kagyu tradition. And so they are all bodhicitta lineages, but then the traditions between the vast conduct and the profound view are slightly different in terms of how they are approached. And so, for example, in the lineage of the profound view, the way bodhicitta is explained is in the following way. So bodhicitta, the relative bodhicitta, has the aspirational part to it, as aspirational bodhicitta, and then the engaging bodhicitta, the activity. So according to the lineage of profound view, aspirational bodhicitta means that you first have an intention to go somewhere, for example. So you have this intention, I'm going to go there. And then the activity, the engaging bodhicitta, is then to actually embark on the journey and actually go there. And so in terms of bodhicitta, that means that first you have the motivation, this wish, this intention, this initial motivation, I'm going to benefit sentient beings. So that's the motivation. And then in order to benefit beings, then you engage. Then the engaging bodhicitta then is the practice of the 6 paramitas and so forth. So the actual thing that we do to benefit beings. And so this is how it is in the lineage of profound view. In the lineage of vast conduct, on the other hand, so the aspiration is a commitment. The aspirational bodhicitta is a commitment to the result. So whereas in the prior one, the profound view, it's a commitment to the cause. So I want to benefit beings because it's a cause. But then here in the vast conduct, it's a commitment toward the result. And so how does that look? So here we say this verse, for example, may all enemies and obstructors, all those enemies who hate me and obstructors who harm me, may they have happiness and quickly reach enlightenment. So we wish for all beings quick enlightenment, which is the result. So here the aspirational bodhicitta, therefore, is focused on the result, a commitment toward the result. And then the activity bodhicitta, the engaging bodhicitta, is then the commitment to the cause. So here you think that, so for this result, therefore, from this day on until tomorrow, I will practice virtue with body, speech, and mind. I will practice virtue until death with body, speech, and mind, and so on. So this commitment to the cause is the engaging bodhicitta according to the lineage of vast conduct. So.
وذاتي جبات زوان يابوس سيسنا تريو چومن جيشي وذاتي سمو دبي جبات جاجان جبات جبات چوجي بند ادشاد يوري دي جبات قدم لما تزول نايو قدم لما تزوجي وقدم لما تزول غامبو بات قدم ك چواچي قدم ك دما سما شوري وتل دنا تي جبات ني يوري 이차 요요리 와들이 냠냐치라 주바데 멜라레바 타다 감보 반제네 我的没拉这边去的马什么呢？有了我的。咱们去吧，就把记得就把出甚至一些我的他不该就是的，干部把的嘛，他不该就是他不是弄吧，干部把修啥子了吧？我真的他不该就是的没特别是这里错了是吧？
So to go a little bit more into the lineage to make it more clear and where those lineages really come from. So the lineage of profound view and the lineage of vast conduct, they both trace back to Lord Atisha. So from Atisha, they came, they were transmitted through the various Kadampa lamas. So it was really a Kadampa tradition. And Gampopa was first a Kadampa monk. So he received the Kadampa instructions, and with that, the two Kadampa lineages, the profound view and the vast conduct. So those two lineages. And then he met Milarepa, and from Milarepa, he received all the experiential instructions, the practical instructions. And that is then the third lineage, the practice lineage of blessings. So this is how Gampopa came to hold all three lineages. So the lineage of view, conduct, and also the lineage of direct experience. And so this is what his lineage then became known for, this one lineage that kind of comprises those three lineages is referred to as the Dakpo Kagyu. And the Dakpo, it refers to the region, the place the Gampopa is from. So it's that really Gampopa's lineage is the tradition that contains all three lineages. So.
我真的讲究的开始说，我说呢，今天对吧，亲戚吧，今天的对吧，可能穷呢，这个现在多了穷，我这现在偏多，现在对吧穷，这点呢穷的是，今天东啊亲戚个，这个让的多了穷是，我今天东啊可能但挺上嘛的，让的点穷是。我这让对吧，嘛，多了挺上没上嘛，这就想着让对吧，都这嘛那个去，真的，这让对他嘛这么当，现在这么嘛他嘛去的。这草嘛对我没不差，他这有的，这没给说这么在当了，让经济进步送了很多人呢没得修，结果让经济可是进来的没得切开来，我这样就跟他说的，现在来他妈现在什么马上他们也有来是，马上一般这些个实际上就马不一没偏到一些了，我有嘛的是。同样的，现在还是特别让东西，欺骗让东西吧，欺骗是我说，但说结果是说他欺骗了去了，马些吧，这欺骗。特别嫌东西吧，是吧？特别上街就那这嫌东西是吧？我听你那七八多是，我听你不那七八多是，特别是上街就那嫌东西的上街是，啊，都让东西的上街特别嘛了，我听你不七八单，这还可别的是。
Also in the Bodhicharya Vatara, it says that all the happiness in this world comes from bringing happiness to others. And all the suffering in this world comes from chasing one's own happiness. So we can really see how this is true. We always want us to be happy. We mostly just think about ourselves. I want to be happy, and so I will do whatever it takes to get that happiness for myself. And in the process, I'm not thinking really much. I don't care much about others. And so we can clearly see how this is what causes all unhappiness. This is why everyone is always unhappy. Because the mind is always focused on me and my problems. So that's why we are never truly happy. And so therefore, it is better if we think about others, we care about the benefit of others. And there's this other quote that says that us ordinary beings are like children, thinking only of ourselves. As such, we are still wandering samsara. The Buddhas think only of others, and therefore Buddhas are already enlightened. So that's the only difference between us and Buddhas. Buddhas are enlightened because the Buddha is enlightened because he only thinks about others and he let go of all selfishness. And we have not let go of selfishness. We don't care much about others. So we remain stuck in samsara. So that is really the only difference.
어떤 절세라나 영화 동안 말이 다된 도르죠. 동안 같이 다대와 된 중을 어떤에 조합의 성지 현변 셈 총. 대체 다대 현재 동안 양다제바 절세라나 인종 차 여러 와 텐데 와서 동안 또 현 그냥 좀 많아 스타트야. 들을 좀더 당 그래 정도와
In the 37 Bodhisattva practices, it says that all suffering comes from wishing for one's own happiness. The perfect Buddhas arise from the altruistic mind. Therefore, completely exchanging your own happiness for the suffering of others is the Bodhisattva's practice. So in brief, we should just think more about others. Yes.
전에 다 고바테 상가 그 거쇼네 고송 타마데 메자바 진거장 좀 전염스네 스와테 상가 대과 소지 왕라 소바슈나다 고쇼라 그라 왕라 소규 디고쇼네 고솜스 고선 류가 좀레다 류카 제렘 공고르스 나나다 고르스 샘데 딩엔지 마데와치네 타마바 메자 강주 차향 딩마스 진거스 조아 타마바 메자스 我真的经过中间是我是留下经过我经过的，他就去过学校了，但是你不是拿过来是，我你不是拿的是，拿送过。
Then we come to verse number 9. Having entered the gateway of to secret mantra, don't let your 3 doors be ordinary, but train in them, being the 3 mandalas. So to enter the gateway to secret mantra is so we enter the gateway to secret mantra if we take the empowerment of secret mantra. And once you have entered the gateway of secret mantra, we should not allow our body, speech, and mind to remain ordinary, to be ordinary again. But we should train, it says here, in the 3 mandalas, and that is the body and in the body mandala in the form of the deity, and the speech mandala by reciting the mantra, and then the mind mandala by sustaining practice.
他在往在前呢，他在这趟俺说他在绝对写了过了，下句现在他做七八去长大了做七八的，做七八的了，下句来说，九现呢，他在去长大了说叫他们去要不要吧，他拿了人家的说吧，人家他听着问着我要吧的九现，我在那就现他拿人家做七八的那就是天是。 那就那没必须，现在他的连同你是没办法是那样，他那就那没必须。我他才说就得他说往头，我这过时呢，我真的他妈把这嘛的市场可能还有，因为他妈把那个最大的他接连空过的是，那他妈把买家吧呢，那他过的是，这sem他妈把买家呢，去年一在那他买人话去过，做我是买人话去呢，我就让他为他给送头的。 意思明白，这你不上或者是个对呢。
So when we receive empowerment of the secret mantra, so we enter the 4 classes of Tantra, and there's first the Kriya Tantra, action Tantra, and so here the main focus is on the outer activities like outer hygiene and just ritual cleanliness. So external conduct is the main focus. Then in the second, the Charyatara performance tantra, this emphasizes both the outer conduct and the inner practice equally. So there is an emphasis on the on proper outer conduct and cleanliness, but also inner practice. Then the third yoga is the Yoga Tantra, and that mainly emphasizes inner practice. And then the Anuttara Yoga Tantra, the 4th or the unsurpassed Yoga Tantra, that focuses on the practice of bliss emptiness, not the non-duality of bliss emptiness. And so we once we have received empowerment of those classes of Tantra, we should no longer see our body, speech, and mind as ordinary, but rather always visualize the body as the deity, always recite mantra with speech, see all speech as mantra, and with the mind, let your mind rest in the natural state. But mainly that means the mind must be undistracted. And so in this way, not seeing your body, speech, and mind as ordinary, you never separate from the deity's enlightened body, speech, and mind. So.
真的，他这趟去呢，他整个说，这就是说，他四瓦的茶吧，这样说，这两的是你们去那他四瓦这开始他可能呢，这两这四瓦这工作强这样他说，今天吃了他说四瓦，茶吧现在这让他这北强他应该说这两车呢，下去有那车米线重样的么，这有天是说这怎么当样这茶吧。那真的俺家现在俺家电把车，俺家电把这开对那这块，他一咱们我这西过，那他说他俺出去下是那嘛茶话，俺那说什么他俺出去，假如是我的出去下这边，我这里是嘛对吧？去过的那种过他，其中今天去看，那就他他没了，身边的没他他没了说，我只说嘛这吧开对那，我这里人家去特别没送去过的那种确实的。
And the generation stage or the deity yoga possesses three important aspects: clarity, purity, and stability. Clarity means to clearly visualize the deity, its implements, ornaments, the appearance of the deity should be visualized clearly and vividly. Then secondly, purity is to recognize that the deity's appearance represents pure qualities in the deity's mind. For example, Chenrezig with 4 arms represents the 4 immeasurables. So you see the outer appearance as a representation of inner pure qualities. Then stability is also called this divine pride or confidence of being the deity. You hold this confidence, I am really the deity. And being the deity, you must know that all appearances, sounds, and your own awareness are nothing but the display of the Dharmakaya. The outer world is the Pure Land, the mandala of the deity. The inner beings are all gods and goddesses. They are deities. And this is so this is how we as practitioners must make an effort in our practice as Vajrayana practitioners. So.
真的，他就在上北区是同米三大门口儿吧，一年才被协中就是搞错娘是呢，是吧？他上北区小女区是同米三大门口是，我嘛应当我说我是那块儿呀嘛，我搞我的话，这块儿是是同大门，他上北区罗不中今年这块也我有嘞，我才买几万起，这同大其他人那他那块儿是这当他自己给我有几的话。我只说那块儿下来是挺着的呢，对嘛的三大国是么块儿是，一年才被协中的，这一年他吧，一年他把这里协中去呢，真的搞错你是那是搞错不起过是，我这路不中起过去，头发起、光把起、三把起、光把起呢，我这都搞来家过去，是搞错你是那我的种的吧。
Verse number 10. While young, don't roam pointlessly to many places. Instead, undertake hardship at the feet of a sublime spiritual teacher. For example, in Tibet, we say that when we are young, when somebody is young, maybe young people like to go around, even if it's a good going around, even if you want to go to this pilgrimage and that pilgrimage. But actually, it is said that the kids should stay and they should study. That's the best time to study and to learn something. Of course, going on a pilgrimage, that's also a virtuous activity. But when you're young, then that's still the best time to apply your mind and study. So instead of going around to many places, it says undertake hardship at the feet of a teacher. So follow follow and serve a spiritual teacher and make an effort, put in the effort. So that is the meaning of enduring hardship, undertaking hardship at their feet, meaning that you have to make the effort and endure the hardship to listen, to learn, to study the teachings and practice them, reflect. So you have to make the effort, in other words. So enduring hardships means you have to make the effort and persevere in the practice. So,
我这个当也是可大把些有是可种是呢，假如中了当马了，假如上节就在那种说当马子中了，当马子中被当马子有了，老主去来把它讲嘛，意思老主现在我讲过的是老穷穷的，没些才从车哇些是，没些才从这个车过的是，从别推是老票啊，是的，上别推老那这个也我在老过的也是，我到上班看些挺多的，但那块基本可以说什么，他呀想马上想推出什么做完之后，都这种些都有嘛，个来讲推个嘛的。我经常听到冇有的，俺那说，这就听到，就说出来当就嘛的是做我这，真的伢们去过的是，我个来讲过的是，我真开发老被推到，撒下边讲说我那开发老被推到是，台湾多了开没事，开发老对个来有的是，台湾多就开发起来是个嘛的是，我台湾穷了吃吧，全部台湾错没事，我台湾穷在吃的呢，这个来嘛家这台湾全部错出个嘛的用到。我之前对这个人说，在罗兄弟，成都那他罗不用去，他说做上工种去呢，哪怕是罗不用要过去，托巴要过去，我这里，这你们去过的用多，那我他才能成咱们西下的吧？
Kadamba Master Kadamba Geshe Karava, he said that the Buddha gave profound and vast teachings, just volumes of teachings. Young people should learn them because young people's mind is crisp, so they're intelligent, they're sharp. And when you're able to study the teachings, then the doubts will naturally clear. And the best time to do that is while one is still young. When one is young, one has a clear and sharp mind and one can learn things. So one should use the brain to learn things when one is young. But that's often not what young people like to do. Young people like to just go around here and there and do different things, but definitely they don't want to study. Even though now they actually have the intelligence and the kind of brain power to study and to work hard, but they don't want to do it. Especially nowadays, many young people are like that. They really waste a lot of time. And so this teaches us don't waste your time, but use the ability that you have now if you're young to practice. Sakya Pandita had said that a wise person will endure hardship that is not the unpleasant hardship for the ultimate happiness. Those foolish people who are attached to small pleasures will never gain great joy. So while we are young, if you're young, when we're young, that's the time to study, to learn, to reflect, to practice, and in particular, to study, to learn things. So that's important to make an effort in. So anyways, then we stop here for today.
OK，这里给先几天总共的写，咱们也引起头痛是。
Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind, root and lineage lamas, divine assembly of yidams and assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, heroes, heroines, yogini, and assembly of dakinis dwelling in the 10 directions, please heed me. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all sentient beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, pride, and jealousy not arise within my mind. May thoughts of fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta. And through that, may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. Even at death, may the torment of suffering not arise. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such, and in the pervasive clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo.
Okay, thank you. See you next week.
See you next week.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank-
you.
Thank you. See you
Thank
next
you.
week. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Ina.